The woman meets her boyfriend for the first time. Although her boyfriend is much older than her, she is completely immersed in the happiness of being with him. She doesn't even notice that her good friend in the mall sees everything. The next day, Kelly finds Annie.
How old is he? Doesn't matter. Annie, wait! Oh my god.
It's not that big a deal.
Although Annie says she doesn't mind, she secretly hides and cries. At that time, Annie didn't know that all of this was just a carefully planned scheme. Annie was originally a lively and cheerful girl. On her birthday, her father gave her the first laptop of her life. Annie was extremely happy. That night, she hurriedly chatted with her boyfriend. In her description, this boy was smart, humorous, liked sports, and came from a highly educated family. However, Owen didn't know all the connections between his daughter and this boy named Charlie. Only through the cold screen, a phone, a computer. The boyfriend's image is entirely based on the other's descriptions. The father had some doubts about this seemingly perfect boy, but he trusted his daughter, so he didn't ask anymore. That night, the boy made a request to Annie. He wanted a selfie of Annie. Annie posed in front of the computer for a long time. She kept adjusting her angles and expressions, until she chose the most satisfying photo and sent it over. However, when she asked for a photo from him, Charlie remained silent. Until the next day, Charlie finally confessed. He said he wasn't 18 years old, but a sophomore at the University of California, Berkeley, 20 years old this year. Annie hesitated a bit, but soon she thought, after all, it's only a 2-year difference, and Charlie treated her well. A few minutes later, the screen lit up. Charlie's selfie finally came through. He looked just as perfect as Annie had imagined in her mind. That photo made her doubts disappear. Annie stared at the photo, her lips curling into a smile. After that, their chats became more frequent. Annie often lay in bed at night, dreaming of a beautiful future with her boyfriend. She eagerly awaited their meeting. Until that night, Charlie told her again that he was actually 25 years old. Annie was a bit angry, feeling that her boyfriend had lied to her again. So, she directly called Charlie and questioned him. But with Charlie's comforting words and the reassurance from his photo, Annie gradually stopped being angry. They resumed their previous sweet relationship. The next day, Annie's brother was about to go out of town for college. The family stood at the door to say goodbye, but Annie's gaze stayed fixed on her phone screen. After being reminded by her parents, she put down her phone and went to hug her brother goodbye. Watching her brother's car disappear into the distance, Annie secretly longed to be able to escape from her parents' gaze like her brother, to have her own college life and freedom. So, she made a bold decision. On the day her parents sent her brother off to school, she went to the mall alone. She had arranged to meet Charlie there. Annie excitedly told him she was sitting on the bench.
It's me, Charlie. Hey, you. God, I can't believe it's really you. Look at you. You're gorgeous.
Is this a joke?
What? No, it's me, Charlie.
Annie froze. She couldn't believe that the man in front of her was actually her boyfriend.
Annie, it's still me. Okay? Forget the age thing. All that stuff that we talked about, all the things that we shared. It's me. Charlie, I'm sitting right here next to you.
Annie questioned Charlie once again. Why had he lied to her?
Annie, when you connect with someone the way that we connected, when you find a soulmate, the way that we found each other, then nothing else matters. And I thought you were old enough to understand that. And you made me think you could handle this, Annie.
Listening to Charlie's words, Annie slowly calmed down. After seeing her calm down, he suggested they go for a walk as friends. This request was hard for Annie to refuse. Charlie seemed to completely understand Annie's mindset. Plus, when he said, "You're not like other girls who care about his age," it became the key to Charlie's precise attack on Annie's self-esteem and vanity. This made Annie start to doubt whether she had overreacted. This is where emotional manipulation is most hidden. The gentle warmth that a girl can't refuse. Annie didn't know that this man, who had been lying to her, was causing her great harm. From then on, Annie could no longer contact Charlie. In her heart, she seemed to have an answer she couldn't even believe. But Kelly noticed that something was wrong with Annie. She told the teacher about it. Soon after, Annie was called to the teacher's office for a talk. The school quickly realized the severity of the situation, and immediately notified the police. That day, Annie was taken off the campus under everyone's gaze. Classmates were all speculating what had happened. Soon, Annie's parents received the notification and rushed to the police station. The investigator calmly and succinctly told them what had happened. Her mother was emotional, eager to see her daughter. At that moment, Annie was being examined by a doctor. The results confirmed the police's statements. When Annie walked out of the examination room, she saw her mother waiting outside for a long time. She didn't say a word, she just rushed into her mother's arms, hugging her tightly. Her parents were also deeply saddened by Annie's condition. They could hardly believe that their daughter had gone through such a thing. Soon Doug, the federal agent in charge of the case, intervened. They went back home together. Annie brought out the clothes from that day. Her father couldn't believe his carefully protected daughter had been easily deceived by the words and warmth of a stranger. The police then found on Annie's computer the chat logs between her and Charlie, confirming that they had maintained long-term phone contact. Doug asked Annie to try dialing his number. They were preparing to track the location through the call. Annie said that Charlie hadn't answered her calls for a long time. But at that moment, Annie was still immersed in that fake warmth, unwilling to believe the reality before her. Just then, her mother's phone suddenly rang. Charlie immediately realized something was wrong when he heard the phone in the background. He quickly hung up the phone. Because the call was too short, the location couldn't be traced. Facing Charlie's accusations, Annie felt like a traitor. Even though she now knew Charlie had issues, she didn't want him to hate her. Annie could only retreat to her room and lock herself inside. The police analyzed he might have found Annie's mother's phone number online and used this trick to confirm if Annie was lying. Owen felt deeply saddened by his daughter's ordeal. He realized that his daughter no longer trusted the outside world, and that she was having psychological issues.